didn't realise the interview had started.
Yeah, you know what? It hasn't even started, but I bet you a few people are screenshotting that picture because I thought about it. Anyway, October Red, I'm back with Sahni. We are at the public weigh-in for Zhang Joyce 2. It's a pleasure to be here. It was good yesterday seeing you at the top table once again. Talk to me, Dev. How are you finding this card?
Look, I like it. There's so much jeopardy for Joe Joyce. Just turned 38 like the other day. Zang's 40. Long way back for the loser, right? And I don't know how the fight's going to go. Joe Joyce says he's made the changes. He's had 5 months to make the changes, but people are saying maybe that wasn't long enough to make changes like that. But at the same time, you're looking at his amateurs, right? And he used to box guys, big southpaws, and he used to beat them. He beat Jalalov in the amateurs. People are saying he should be using Jalalov for sparring because that would help. He's beaten him in the amateurs, so he knows how to do it. I think he just overlooked. And now it's a case of Zang says that he's going to be better as well. He's brought in new SMC people, he's brought in new team members, and he thinks he's going to target the eye and bad him up.
You know what? That's what I found extremely interesting. When Zang said, obviously his translator says, because Chinese is not that good at interpretation, that they're going to target the eye. I thought, how vicious is that to say that? Literally, your tactic. We're going to go straight for what we did last time.
Look, he's either a very vicious man or got a very vicious translator. And I think it's a
bit of both.
I think it's a mix of the two. He is quite a savage, to be fair. He's Big Bang Zang. But look, if it worked for him the first time, it's the same face he's targeting, it's the same punch he's throwing, and he thinks he can just do it again. It's up to Joe Joyce to prove him wrong. That's one of the questions heading into this. There's a few big ones for me. Can Joe Joyce move his head and get out of the way of Zang's big backhand? Can Joe Joyce come in heavier and impose himself on Zang, who was almost 2 stone heavier than him? And look, we'll answer one of those questions today in terms of the weight. He was 250.
Was it his career lightest?
It wasn't his career lightest because when he started his career, he had abs and all sorts. He was jumping about the ring, backflips and all sorts. But career lightest, it's the lightest he's been for quite a while indeed. So yeah, he was light. I think he'll come in about 1.5 stone heavier this time, and Zang might be a bit lighter, I think.
Zang did look quite lean, but one of the things that I want to touch on is I think Joel was caught by surprise by the confidence that exuded from Team Zang. When you was doing the questions, it was a little bit back and forth, nothing major. But then I saw Joel almost looked like to say, "Hold on a minute, what's going on here?"
Zang has been nothing but confident in the first fight and this rematch. Joe Joyce is never normally top of anyone's shopping list in terms of people you want to fight. Who picks Joe Joyce, right? If you're going where you think you're going to go, if you've got a world title shot or something like that, you don't pick a fight with Joe Joyce. Zang has been targeting Joe Joyce. That's what he's been telling us. He's been targeting Joe Joyce. He fancies the style. He fancies he can land on him, and it worked the first time. He's been very confident throughout. His team are very confident. His team think he's the best heavyweight in the world. That's the sort of confidence I'd want around me. Look, he may be. We don't know. We need to see him against Tyson Fury. Let's see if he can get through Joe Joyce, and then maybe that could happen. But Joe Joyce has got other ideas, and Zang's a hell of a fighter. I'm really looking forward to it.
Joyce has mentioned he needs to get back to winning ways. So that is kind of like one for a better word, the monkey on his back, the elephant in the room, the win that he needs to secure. 5 months since the fight happened, and we can confidently say from round 1, when Zang popped that jab, Joel Joyce was already off-footing, and it kind of literally just spiraled downhill from there because he kept on catching him with the same shot over and over again, and we saw the damage to his eye. If you're thinking on Team Joel Joyce, you would have had conversations with them. In 5 months, what could he have done, or what should he have done to get him up to par, ready for this fight?
I think it's kind of already there. I think, from what I was saying earlier about how he beat Jalalov in the amateurs, he has boxed big southpaws in the amateurs and had success and beaten them. I think it was already there. So I think it's just a case of having that respect now for Zhang. I don't think he respected him in the first fight. You've got to remember how the fight came about. As much as we can say Zhang was targeting Joe Joyce, has wanted him his whole life, his whole career, Joe Joyce still, it was up to him. It wasn't mandatory or anything like that. Joe Joyce picked Zhang I guess everyone picked him because he's a good heavyweight, another great name to add to the resume, just like Joe Parker, just like Daniel Dubois, and you start building the case for him having those big world title fights. That's why you picked Zhang. It went wrong. He didn't respect him. I think that's what happened. I think now he's got no choice but to respect him. He's got no choice but to respect his power and his hand speed. And in terms of the changes, I think he knows what to do. I think, pop boxing psychology, pop boxing trainers can tell him, oh, just move your head, get out of the way. That's the most obvious thing, right? And he's smart enough to know how to do that and more.
We talk about being smart enough to make those adjustments, something that Frank hit on, and to me it was he hit the nail on the head. He said last time, you mentioned overlooking, we were concentrating, or everyone seemed to be concentrating on Anthony Joshua. I tweeted at the time of the fight and I said, you'd think Anthony Joshua was fighting, and I got some criticism for that online, but that was where the focus was. And we've seen it with fighters, Dev, we've seen it with fighters when it's not that they're disrespecting the opponent that they've got, but they're looking for the future. And look what happens when you do that. We've seen it with AJ concentrating on Deontay Wilder, even Dillian White concentrating on Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua. It's a really dangerous trap to get in.
It is. And look, in boxing you get destination fights and you get build-up fights. The destination fights for Joe Joyce seem to be Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua, because he's still up there, he's still got profile, you get a lot of popularity from beating him. They're the destination fights. All the fights you have before that are lead-up, build-up fights. Zhang was a lead-up, build-up fight. When you're marketing that fight, you've got to talk about those other three names. You've got to talk about how you do against those guys. You've got to talk up your chances. Frank's going to talk up his chances. It's just what you've got to do. So I think some fighters understand that is the game that you've got to play. You've got to get those likes, you've got to get those views, you've got to get that clickbait. But maybe Joe just bought into it a little bit too much, and every interview that he saw of himself, maybe he was talking about Joshua, people were asking Frank about Joshua, Fury, etc., etc. You can get caught up in it.
And I'm not even going to blame Joe Joyce because he was the one that was asking the questions. It was just, yeah.
Look, and it would be your job as well as an interviewer to ask. I felt that these guys will ask him, so what do you reckon? Do you reckon you'd beat AJ now? Yeah, I'd beat AJ. Like, what's he going to say? Whereas now, I think I'm seeing him asked about guys like that, asked about Fury, and he's saying, listen, let me just focus on Zang, because this guy's in his way, and he's got a win over him. No one else in the world, as a professional, has a win over Joe Joyce. This guy does. He's a real problem.
We're going to touch on the card because I think it's just recently been notified to us, the boxing fans, that Anthony Yarde is on the card and he's fighting. Is it a 23-8 fighter? Is it your
Jorge Silva, either 23-8 or 22-8.
Yeah.
It's not a late replacement.
A very late replacement.
A late replacement, but the good news is you get to see Anthony Yarde, right? And that's what we want out of this. His first fight back after Beterbiev was never going to be a world-level fight, especially after, it's September now, that was back in January. I think he deserves it, right? He deserves a bit of a welcome back. Welcome back to Wembley Arena, which is where you gave us so much back in January. Say hello to the fans again. Go and knock this guy out and remind everyone who Anthony Yarde is, and then let's go for something bigger December.
We talk about going for something bigger. Our British light heavyweight division is such a beautiful division. We've got light heavyweights, cruiserweights and heavyweights, but obviously we're talking about the light heavyweight division. There was some suggestion online, I think, don't quote me on it, I've seen it on, I think it was No Smoke Boxing or Everything Boxing, that possibly Anthony Yarde to fight the winner of Joshua Buatsi, Dan Aziz. Fights that you could have said could have happened a long time ago. Your thoughts on that?
Look, I think, it's not really a scoop that's out there. I think it's just a general talked about thing. As I think everyone who follows boxing in this country would have liked to at some point have seen Anthony Yarde against Joshua Buatsi. It's one of the biggest fights that can be made in this country. And now Buatsi's fighting Aziz. He's got his work cut out against Dan Aziz, who I really like. Aziz might beat him. But Yarde against the winner of those two is a natural fight. It's a brilliant fight. It's a London fight. And everyone will want to see that. Even Frank was talking about it yesterday. And don't forget, we've tried to do the Buatsi fight in the past. There have been offers made, and his fights, he went to box. So he's on his route as well. You know, everyone's not just going to take an offer straight away if you don't think it suits you. But there has been positive signs around that. Everyone wants to do it, and I think it will happen. It's just a matter of when.
We're talking stick on the light heavyweight division. Ezra, the Cannon Taylor, a really good fighter that I know has been with you guys from the start. I've watched his fights from the start, and there was a little bit at the table, I think, where Zach Parker was implying about going up to the light heavyweight division, and I don't know if you saw it. Ezra had a look on his face like, I don't really think so. It's quite funny. But talk to us about Ezra. Talk to us about his talent and what we can expect from him.
Yeah, look, I love him.
Any boxers here at this time, please see me. We need to get your introduction information.
I think he's just got it. You know, it.
Any boxers,
Look at fighters.
please come see me at this
Okay,
time.
can he fight? Yes. Does he look good? Yes. Can he talk? Yes. Has he got a bit of swag? Yes. He seems to tick all the boxes. He's 29 years old. Didn't have too much of an amateur career, so he's playing catch up. But he's got all the confidence in the world, and we'll know more about him against Joel McIntyre. Joel McIntyre's former two-time English light heavyweight champion, a significant step up from anything that Ezra Taylor's ever boxed. But Ezra Taylor chose him. He wants him. He wants to make a statement. So, look, I'm hyped. I'm excited about him, and I guess my excitement levels will go up or down depending on what happens tomorrow.
Royce and Barney Smith, another fighter that I like. He's very exciting. You know, you hear a lot of boxers say, you ask them, okay, I've never seen you before, tell me about your style, and they say exciting. And seldom is it exciting. It's good, but it's not exciting. But Royston is. Talk to me about Royston.
He is, but he's only 19 years old. He's a baby, right? He's a baby. I remember when Frank first signed him, and I think he turned up to a press conference, and he was 17 at that point. And we were talking about he's going to be making his debut when he's 18, and it was a few months later he turned 18 and he made his debut. And it's another one with the it factor. He's a European amateur champion. He can do it all, and it looks like he's got a bit of manpower as well. Now starting to come through. Punches are landing where fighters are like, whoa, what? And they're going down, or they're being hurt, and they're like, I thought you was just some little boy. He ain't no little boy. He's Sugar Boy Roy, actually. But he's turning into quite something. He's in that Ben Davison camp. He's in there with Lee Wood. He's in there with the McCormacks. He's in there with Alois Jr., Fabio Wardley, Jamie TKV. Iron sharpens iron, and he's becoming very sharp indeed.
You've just mentioned something there that I did want to touch on quickly. We do know that obviously David Adelaide and Fabio Wardley are fighting for is it the Commonwealth, the European belts that they've got? Please forgive my ignorance on that. But unfortunately, they're not fighting for the British. Is that the case where there would be a rematch then, because the fight was ordered for the British and then they have the rematch in the UK? You're smirking.
No, I mean, I'd love to give you an answer on that. Sometimes I'm a bit restricted with what I can say and what I know, and that's like one for Frank really. You'd have to get his steer on that.
I'm going to try and get him on that. But no, it's an exciting fight, a fight that we're looking forward to, and a fight that, for those of us that can't get out to Saudi, selfishly I'm one of them, I'd love to see that go down in the UK, because there's real needle with them pair.
They're just two unbeaten British heavyweights who can't be trusted around each other, who don't like each other, who want to just knock each other out. That's all the ingredients you need for a big fight, and you know, if and when it does happen, you know, my fingers crossed. I haven't heard anything officially, but I'm sure it will. I think it's going to be an amazing fight, and what a rivalry we've got developing between those guys.
But we do like it, and credit to David Adelaide. You know, not somebody that is volunteering to jump on my channel. However, he is the villain that the heavyweight boxing needs, and it's refreshing. I know people were complaining, oh, that was terrible, what happened? No, it wasn't, David. I understand that David was involved in a shove. However, I wasn't really thinking about purchasing that fight, because obviously Tyson Fury was fighting an MMA guy. It's not something that tickled my taste buds. But when I saw them pair go at it, I thought, sold.
I think there's going to be some great announcements about the undercard.
Oh, nice.
All officially should be made by the official channels. But look, I think boxing fans will be happy when they see what the full card looks like. And I think sports fans of entertainment will be happy. I think this card is going to tick a lot of boxes. And of course, it kicks off Riyadh season. It's a big deal. You need a big show, and you need to make big statements to be in that position. So I can't wait, to be honest.
And you are in a very privileged position to be able to go out there and wear your 15,000 hats that you do.
I don't know what they're going to have me doing out there. I'll try and do everything. You know me by now. I'll just try and do everything as much as I can. It might be nothing. It might be everything. I don't know yet, but I'll always give it a go.
Listen, it's an absolute pleasure. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're going to have a busy day today, but everyone, shout out to Dev Sahni, the man, the can man.
Come on, can man, Mexican, Dominican.